It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Mike is here at this hour.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to our viewers out there.
Well, let's get started as usual. We'll start from the local scene where we understand over 1,000 athletes have been expected to be part of the maiden youth marathon tournament that will come up in the next few days, just about 5 days or so, 30th of this month. We understand there will be a VIP race, including the main marathon race in this event. It's a novelty to watch a VIP race in the marathon.
Yeah, truly a novelty to watch out there for the VIP race out there. And I think Lagos State is actually doing something very, very spectacular, trying to also get down to the grassroots as well to ensure that we unearth talent, because the essence of this mini competition is to also ensure that we are able to unearth new talent from there, also build peaceful coexistence among the communities out there, and of course trying to discover new talent for the future. I tell you, this is a very nice one, which I think if it stays consistent for them to maintain this platform, I tell you, a lot of talents will be unearthed courtesy of this championship. I think for me, it is something that calls for maybe special attention from other states out there. They need to take a cue from what Lagos State is doing in terms of sport development, in all angles, not just football, because nowadays people tend to pay much attention to football, leaving other sports aside. But when you get to the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Game, the All-African Game, it's not just football that they are going to compete. You are going to compete in all fronts, from basketball, from athletics, cycling, and all of that. So for me, I think there is need for other states to also emulate what Lagos State is doing in order for us to, holistically develop and improve sport, management right here in the country, so that at least when we get to some of these major competition, whether continental or intercontinental, we can be able to hold our own very strong as well.
In a bid to foster peace, unity, and harmony amongst the various ethnic and, of course, diverse religious groups, the Lagos State government is ensuring that this marathon event becomes an annual one, and definitely it seems to be going down well and achieving its purpose. We don't seem to see many of marathon events around the South and, of course, the other parts of the nation.
Yeah, I think it's something that calls for worry, and that is why I said earlier that other states as well need to start emulating from what Lagos State is doing. What we used to see when we talk about a marathon race right here in South, maybe the Obudu mountain race, which has all been forgotten for many years right now. That is the only marathon race that were very, very famous right here in this part of the climb, in time past. But the Obudu mountain race, all of a sudden, we could not hear anything about it again. But it was one of the top-notch race that has gained momentum, where we thought maybe, we are going to continue in that. I think by now, if we had continued with that Wood Mountain race, by now we shouldn't even be hearing about the Okpekpe race and all of that, Lagos Marathon, because it was the Wood Mountain race that actually, came to limelight first, but then quite unfortunate. And for Southeast as well, and even the North, we need to also emulate from the what the Southwest is doing, because I tell you, it's been very, very, handful of events in terms of trying to organize a, long distance race and all of that. So for me, I think it is something that calls for worry from other regions of the country, that we must, as a matter of must, try to emulate from what the Lagos State is doing.
Well, let's stay away from a marathon report and now go to the African military games, and this looks like a good one. It took place in Abuja for 2024, and we saw a very thrilling volleyball action there yesterday, where Algeria, Burkina Faso, and Kenya claimed their very first victories in the men's volleyball competition.
countries out there. But I think we did not also do bad. Don't forget, we also started a competition on a very fine note, defeating Ghana in a basketball, in the handball event, both in the male and female category, to ensure that we start on a very positive note. So I think going forward, we need to also improve. For the fact that we are hosting at home should give us that leverage as well to actually be more comfortable, because we have the fans, backing us out there. But the fans sometimes is not good enough. If your team is not playing as they ought to compete favorably well against other top countries out there, despite the cheering of the fans out there, you cannot rescue medals for you. So we need to up our ante if we truly want to finish very, very strong.
Cameroon was, do I say, beaten by the female basketball team.
Yeah.
And well, there was a walkover for the male team. Nigeria walked over the male volleyball team from Cameroon. What happened?
I actually tried to dig deep into the circumstances that led to the Cameroonians absent in that very one, that made them to be disqualified for that very one, or walkover rather. I could not get a very concrete information. Information regarding that is very sketchy, but maybe in the next few days to come we'll get to know the real reason why the Cameroonians were actually walked over.
11 African countries were in action at the just concluded military games in Abuja. We understand Tanzania was here, Ethiopia, Uganda, Algeria, Congo, Ghana, Kenya, Libya, South Africa, not forgetting Senegal, and the host nation, Nigeria, all represented in the event. Meanwhile, let's get you a cricket piece of information this hour. We understand Yellow Green's captain, Sylvester Okpe, and his brother, Isaac Okpe, both made their 50th T20 appearances for Nigeria and the country, and this historic feat came after a 264 runs win over Ivory Coast in the second game of the 2026 International Cricket Council T20 World Cup sub-regional qualifiers that took place in Abuja yesterday. What a feat by the brothers.
Yeah, when you talk about cricket right here in Africa, I think we are gaining that momentum, we are gaining that recognition that we truly deserve, because we've been on the surge for the past 3 years right now. We're very consistent, competing in all levels right here in Africa. So for me, I think it wasn't a surprise that we're able to get over our opponent. Don't forget, in our first game against St. Helena, the small island country, we actually whitewashed them by 108 runs out there. So for me, it wasn't surprising. But one thing I find very attractive is about the brothers, talking about the Sylvester Okpe brothers, discovered in 2018 where they made their first debut for the senior national team. But since then, they've continued to blaze on. 8 years down the line, they are still holding the mantle very strong for Team Nigeria. So for me, I think it is a plus and they are blessing to the cricket team of Nigeria. Going forward, I expect us to at least pick one of the 2 tickets available in our group to qualify for the T20 World Cup.
Nigeria needs to qualify for the T20 World Cup, and the Okpe brothers are definitely powering on from what we've seen there. It doesn't come too good. A lot of races on their belt. Meanwhile, we'll go to badminton, and talking about badminton, they are looking forward to a podium finish at the next Olympic Games. Is this possible for, going by what we've seen, will the Nigerian Olympic, badminton side be in Los Angeles come 2028?
It's very possible, and that is why the Africa, not just Nigeria, but Africa as a whole, they are doing everything possible to bring more like a mini competition that here to Nigeria, so that to ensure that other African countries, not just Nigeria, is able to sharpen their skills and get themselves ready for the next Olympic Games. So if everything goes according to plan, if we are able to, take the opportunity that, we are being offered to actually work on our skills and finishing, I think it is possible. In sport generally, there is nothing that is impossible. It's about determination, it's about passion, it's about vision, what you intend to achieve, your purpose and goal. If you can be able to put all these things right, then you might want to say that it is very, very possible. If we start planning right now before the next Olympic game, I think we are going to, strengthen our sport and also sharpen our skills to be at par with other countries that are doing pretty well in that sport.
Well, in badminton, Dan Roby, Romanobi is charged in delivering on the highest standard we can find of Nigerian badminton. So wishing the very best of luck. After all, he's a member of the world body, and so he should know exactly how to navigate it and ensure that Nigeria badminton players will be in Los Angeles for the next Olympic Games. Let's bring you some tennis news now. And in tennis, lawn tennis to be specific, Yannick Sinner has shown why he's the world #1, because he's had an extraordinary season, given by the number of Grand Slam he has won, and now he is a proud winner of the Davis Cup title for his country, Italy. He had that in a 6-2 win over Talon Grespo to secure a 2-0 victory against the Netherlands. This is very interesting. We saw Matteo Berrettini earlier defeating Botti Van Jaskov 6-4, 6-2, and now that was an early advantage, I must say, for Italy, consummated by Yannick Sinner, the world #1 in tennis.
Yeah, I think for me the stage was already set before Yannick Sinner came to the court out there. Having got that lead first before coming into that game, he was able to dispatch his opponent seamlessly. Though I may not want to say it was a total and easy ride for him, but had to dig deep to win his opponent. But it was very certain immediately they were paired together. Many odds actually went in his favor, considering his form so far this season. I think the man has been on the form of his life so far. Despite the issue of doping allegation and all of that, it has not deterred him from focusing on what matters on the court, which is the business of delivering top-notch performance, which for me, I think he has been able to live up to the expectation, actually telling the whole world that him sitting as the world #1 is not a fluke. He has actually worked his fingers to the bone to get to where he is right now. Cost of his impressive display so far, Italy, right now as it is, they are maybe call it one of the best playing lawn tennis game as it is right now. Even their female counterpart also winning the Billie Jean Cup, their male team as well doing pretty well. Don't forget how they also, triumphed just a few days ago in the ATP final. So for me, I think for this man talking about Yannick Sinner is going to stay as the world #1 for a very long time if he continues to maintain this momentum.
Matteo Berrettini actually described Yannick Sinner as the most humble person on planet Earth as we speak. He's won 2 titles, Grand Slam title this year. He's won, of course, the season-ending championship, and now the Davis Cup title. And still looking very humble at the age of 23. Let's say congratulations to Yannick Sinner, and of course his teammate Matteo Berrettini for helping Italy to become 6-time winner of the Davis Cup title. Let's see whether we can get you the latest coming from the world of Formula 1. Yes, Red Bull's Max Verstappen has won this year's the World Drivers' Championship with his 5th place placing in Las Vegas. You come 5th, yet you are the winner of the world title. We understand there was cause of the fact that they needed to just be ahead of Lando Norris, who came 6th and won. But I think first, let's look at the winner of the Las Vegas Grand Prix that took place at the weekend. Lando Norris, no doubt, let's say, an undisputed winner.
Yeah, undisputed winner. Despite some challenges out there, was still able to navigate his way through to actually coast home that victory. Of course, for Lando Norris, been a while that people expected him to at least live up to this expectation. But it looks as though whenever you expect so much from Lando Norris, it doesn't just deliver when it matters most.
No, actually, it was Russell who won. Lando Norris came 6th, just ahead of, let's say, below the world title winning, podium finish winner. No, not podium finish. He didn't win on the podium. I'm talking about Max Verstappen. He came 5th. Lando Norris came 6th. And because of the points difference, he emerged as the world title winner. But we saw George Russell of Mercedes win this one, followed closely by his team mate, Lewis Hamilton, who came 2nd at the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Quite surprising for George Russell, and for Lewis Hamilton finishing 2nd is not surprising, because 3 days ago you had him on the press when he was actually being quizzed with a lot of questions out there. He said that just 3 races remaining before the season comes to an end, and he's willing to sacrifice or do everything humanly possible to ensure that at least he finishes very strong in these 3 races that is remaining. I guess that was the propelling factor for Lewis Hamilton. And for George Russell, quite shocking, because this season alone he has been able to struggle. He has not been able to hit that peak form. At some point it was just Lewis Hamilton that the burden of helping Mercedes rested upon, and that is why whenever Lewis Hamilton is not making a podium finish, it was so worrisome. George Russell this season, he hasn't been the same George Russell. This is the first time throughout the season that he will be, winning a race, which for me is quite disappointing, and that is why I say that it was very shocking, to see him, win this very one. But going forward, I think if they had continued in this fine form earlier in the season, maybe by now, maybe talking about Mercedes, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, giving Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen a run for his money. But they are picking up very, very late, where we just have about a few races before the end of, the season. But in all, I just think it is a big congratulations for them. If Mercedes can build on from here, the season almost coming to an end, then next season get back to work, try to look into their engine, try to see if they can be able to refurbish it and put it up to standard where they can be competing against the likes of Red Bull, then that would be good for them.
Talking about Mercedes coming first and second, this is the first time this season we'll see these 2 drivers come first and second. But the glory for this Formula 1 season that has just about 2 races or so to the end of the season has to go to Max Verstappen, who has won the his 4th title, even with 2 races to go.
Yeah, not surprising. I think it was only London Norris that was very, very close to him, pursuing him, going for the juggler back and forth with some few points. It was about 68 points earlier before the race 7, for him to catch up with, this man talking about Verstappen. But then London Norris lose the grip on that point margin, where he was actually penalized some time ago, and some point was deducted and all of that. Since then, I think the point deficit has continued to reduce drastically, as London Norris were able to play the catch-up game against Max Verstappen. As it is right now, just 63 points with just 2 races to go. It was all done and dusted that even if London Norris get to win these 2 races, he cannot still catch up with the point margin of Max Verstappen. So for me, I think we need to congratulate Max Verstappen, despite the fact that this season he has had more like a blip in form, ups and downs, but then he is still able to make this one count for him.
Well, we'll say congratulations to Max Verstappen for winning this year's Formula 1 title with 2 races more to go, and for Lewis Hamilton coming second as well. He tries to see whether he can get at 1 title more for Mercedes before leaving for a new franchise. Do you think this is possible with just 2 races to go?
Yeah, it is possible from what we just saw in the weekend races. They're finishing second for a driver that actually struggled, so far this season. Like I said earlier, he made it publicly known 3 days ago, telling the press out there that he want to finish on a very high note in these 3 races that is remaining. Then I doubted it, because I had to go back and do a total appraisal of his performance so far in the season. I was very skeptical if actually he's going to finish on a very strong note. But then I think he has given me something to believe that indeed maybe in the last 2 races remaining he's going to finish very strong before leaving for Ferrari next season.
We look forward to some sort of strong finish for Lewis Hamilton, a legend, no doubt, in Formula 1, as he changes driver's seat next season. That will be it for this half of the show. We'll definitely be back after a short break, and when we return from the break, we'll look into football. Rivers United have returned to the summit of the Nigerian Premier Football League here in Nigeria, and Manchester United continue to struggle in the Premier League in England. Details of this and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Stay with Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and we'll be reviewing latest happening around the world of sports, especially at the weekend, where we saw Formula One driver George Russell's winning the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Yet, it was Max Verstappen that won the title for this year with 2 more races to go. And we saw the military games to come to an end in Abuja for 2024. But looking ahead, the Nigerian Premier Football League action came to week 13 at the weekend. Mike, 4 highly contested matches across different venues took place, especially yesterday. We saw 9 fixtures that produced 3 draws. There were 6 home wins and a total of 14 goals scored in 10 games that were played. But the spectacular part of the happenings at the weekend was the return of Rivers United to the top of the table of the Nigerian Premier League after a 1-0 win over Abia Warriors. 2 friends were leading the pack. George Trinity for Rivers United and Imama Mapakabo for Abia Warriors.
It was nice to see Rivers United bouncing back to winning ways after having struggled for their last 3 games so far, losing their grip on the top spot out there. But it was a great one to see them come back to winning ways, getting all 3 points. Though it wasn't an easy victory for them, courtesy of that lone goal victory, but all that matters is that they were able to take all 3 points in that very game, which actually enabled them to catapult to the top spot as it is right now. But they need to also continue to improve their games out there, because 1 goal victory, it was keenly contested game that if the Abia Warriors had taken their chances, the chances that came their way, probably by now we should be talking about something different. But a good thing that they were able to pick all 3 points, which enabled them to sit at the top of the summit right now. But then there's still more work to be done by Finidi George.
What happened to Remo Stars? Katsina United beat them by 2-0.
Yeah, it is football that happened. Remo Stars have been on a very fine form, but then when it is not your day, it is not your day. Remo Stars did everything humanly possible. It's just that it failed them, and therefore the team that won, talking about Katsina, I think it was an impressive win for them to bounce back again to winning ways as well, having not been doing pretty well as well. But then for Remo Stars, expect this thing to happen because they've actually maintained that consistency since the start of the season. But I know a time will come where some of these teams, these top teams, will begin to lose their grip.
Shooting Stars of Ibadan narrowly beat Bayelsa United by 1-0.
Not a good one for Bayelsa United because Bayelsa United, in their last 3 games, they've been not doing poorly at all. But Shooting Stars playing at home, maybe that was the winning factor that actually propelled them to get all 3 points. And of course, that 3 points for Shooting Stars have also enabled them to climb up, to the league table.
Akwa United too narrowly beaten by their host team, Academy Warriors. Academy Warriors beginning to show how they can swim out of very untidy positions.
True. I think they needed that victory more than any other team, despite the fact that Akwa United needed only 3 points as well to consolidate themselves in the league table. But then, the home team actually needed the result more than them, so at least to help them navigate away from the murky water of relegation. For Akwa United, it hasn't been the same for them. Under, their new coach, Baba Ganari, they've actually struggled so far this season, and they need to change this narrative if they truly want to stay afloat the NPFL this season. It
was a handsome 3-1 win by Insurance of Benin over their opponents at the weekend. Kwara United traveled to Benin and came back empty-handed.
Yeah, there was nothing united about Kwara United, as they were actually disunited, because of their poor display out there. They had 3 or 4 couple of chances. I actually streamed that game online, but couldn't make use of it. And the home team did capitalize on that advantage to punish them, getting all 3 points against them. Not a good one for them at all.
Heartland FC Owerri played a goalless draw with Rangers, a Oriental derby that didn't produce a goal.
Yeah, typical of the Oriental derby. Heartland have been on the surge in their last 3 games right now. For Enugu Rangers, the defending champion, they are also holding strong because at least we've played game 13. There's still more games for the Fidelity Lechukutu third side to bounce back into the top tier where they ought to be. So it was an evenly poised game which actually ended. You can't take away the glory, to the man of the moment, talking about Rabi Ali, the iconic player. He actually came back with a very sublime free kick out there to, draw levels, making it 2-2 out. The man, 44 years old, having scored 8 goals, and in the last 3 games, they have been scoring free kicks for fun. So I think for Kano Pillar, if they maintain this form that we've seen of them, a few days ago, the captain of the side, talking about Ahmed Musa, was also trying to encourage his teammate out there to go all out and continue to fire on. And with them having this quality player, Rabi Ali, Ahmed Musa, Shehu Abdullahi, I think for me, it looks as though Kano Pillar might possibly come back to reckoning as they were once were.
Well, let's hope that Kano Pillars will really get back to winning ways. But let's bring you some story coming from the camp of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Just before we look at the other top leagues across the world, we understand Ashley Pompey, remember her, Super Eagles star player, Super Falcons star defender. We understand will be making a return to the team for the first time since recovering from a 6-month injury. She had, if you remember, very star-studded, a strong defender for the team, but after a month of injury, she's been laid off for 6 months.
Yeah, good to see Ashley Plumty back in the Super Falcons squad. Don't forget she was one of the reliable hands we had in the last World Cup. They're holding her own very strong, and also leaving Leicester City, last season to team up with the Saudi Women Pro League out there. She's been very fantastic, scoring goals for fun before she got that injury that laid her off for complete 6 months, and that is why she wasn't part of the game. But good, I think she's coming back into the team after a long while, and it's a very good addition to the team from Madugu.
African Cup of Nations is coming up, and the coach of the team, Madugu, is inviting 15 foreign-based professionals and 6 here. Is it 5 here? Five here in Nigeria for the task ahead. Meanwhile, we understand the NFF president has been elected the first vice president of WAFU B Confederation. This is good news for Nigeria, Ibrahim Musa.
Yeah, good news for Nigeria, good news for Africa. We need people that truly understand the workings of football to actually man some sensitive and top position in the CAF, WAFU B executive role out there. I think for me, if they collaborate with others, I think we can move forward and actually continue to improve on every angle in terms of football development right here in the country, right here in the region and the continent of Africa at large.
Aftermath of election which took place at the weekend in the Niger Republic, we saw Nigeria's Ibrahim Guzo being elected into the WAFU Zone B. We understand the president of the Ghanaian Football Association was actually elected as the president out there for WAFU Zone B. So Guzo now, who became the president of the Nigerian Football Federation way back in 2022, has served in several high-level capacities in African football, including being on the organizing committee of the African Nations Championship and also serving as a top security officer for both FIFA and CAF. Let's hope that he will bring experience to bear in this sub-regional tournament. Meanwhile, TP Mazembe are winners of the Women's Champions League. We understand our own Edo Queens crashed out at the semi-final stage of the competition. TP Mazembe, a team that gave Edo United some tough time, are now champions for 2024.
Truly deserving, I must say, having defeated Edo Queens that also hosted at the defending champion, talking about Mamelodi Sundowns. The game against the Edo Queens, where TP Mazembe actually came back at the nick of time, 90 minutes to draw levels, making it 1-1, then by forcing the game to extra time, where Folarin Shaw scored an own goal with another cheap penalty given to them that actually served as a dagger in the heart of Edo Queen. Since then, I just knew it. Something was telling me that, yeah, TP Mazembe might possibly just be the team to win this year's Women CAF Champions League, which they did. Not an easy win for them, 1-goal victory, but then a goal is a goal, and they've lifted this year's edition with a huge amount of money, $600,000 in quote plus $150,000 dollar for participation. That is their stock. Financial stock has risen to about $750,000, which is very massive. And it's a big congratulations to TP Mazembe.
Congratulations to TP Mazembe. Of course, that thing takes away the tears of 2022, where they remained second place side. This time around, they win the very first CAF Women's Championship of the competition. Now, let's quickly go to Europe, and we'll start in Spain, where Kylian Mbappe is returning to goal scoring form. He scored his first goal in 5 games for Real Madrid as they beat Leganés by 3 unreplied goals at the weekend in the La Liga.
Yeah, for Kylian,
with FC Barcelona, they're dropping 2 points at the weekend.
Very disappointing for the Catalan-based club, having led 2-0 up to 82nd minute of the game, allowing Celta Vigo to come back into that very game to actually sneak out a point after they have led for the entire duration of the game. 82 minutes, very sudden, Caseda had to receive that red card. I think that was the factor that actually capitulated Barcelona defense, thereby allowing Celta Vigo to also come back and get a point from that game.
Well, let's bring you some of the more results from the La Liga later on our program, Sports Extraordinary at 6 p.m. But for now, let's look at what happened in the German Bundesliga. It was 5-2 for Bayern Leverkusen over Leverkusen. This was a high-scoring fixture, 7-goal thriller we saw there, with Bayern scoring 5.
Ability of Lukaku, and that was the reason why Antonio Conte, who had worked with him before, was insisting that he should be brought to to Napoli over the weekend against the likes of Victor Osimhen, whom they sent on loan. And the man continued to deliver when it matters most. His solely goal actually helped them to get all 3 points and keep them pushing on the Italian Serie A table.
Let's look at what happened in the Premiership in England. Arsenal were in rampaging forms, 3 past Nottingham Forest. That was the result, going by the recent form of Nottingham Forest, not expected, or scoreline not expected.
Yeah, to so many persons, it wasn't expected. But for me, I said it right here over the weekend that Arsenal was going to make a light work of Nottingham Forest, you know, and it actually panned out to go that very way. I was hopeful that Arsenal was going to get all 3 points against Nottingham Forest. But my head or my mind never told me that Obin and Nwaneri will be on the score sheet. This guy.
So the first time in his first Premier League goal?
Yeah. This guy needs to be watched out. I think he has a great potential that Arsenal must also maximize.
A lot of people think that coach of Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, should begin to blood Nwaneri more, you know, in the Premier League games than maybe he want to do in other competitions.
Yes, of course. For me, take a look at the young guy. He's very talented, no doubt.
Well, we've seen his teammates like Lamine in FC Barcelona. There are several, you know, do I say, players of his age in the FC Barcelona team that are first-team players.
True.
And maybe fearing being burned out, he should be blooded more or given more playing time in the Premier League in England. He
should be given more time. Don't forget, Alex Iwobi was very at that tender age when even you know, Arsene Wenger handed him his first Premier League debut, and even went further to hand him a Champions League debut. He was at his tender age then. So for me, I think these days football doesn't really play. Age doesn't really play football. Example is that of Yami Lamau, have Dani Olmo, have Adagula of Madrid. You know, these are some of the few young talent that we may want to say, given the time they should go. So I expect Mikel Arteta, especially for Arsenal that doesn't have squad depth, you need to give playing time to some of these promising youngsters so that in any case of eventualities, you can be rest assured that you have somebody that is more like a like-to-like replacement, you know, to take over. So more responsibility should be assigned to Obin and Nwaneri in the English Premier League this season.
What could be happening to Manchester City, played at home at the Etihad Stadium? They were pummeled by 4 unreplied goals. Tottenham Hotspurs
and slots with Liverpool maintain this consistency that we have seen. Of course, you saw how they were able to bounce back over the yesterday night, you know, to win their game in a very magical fashion with Salah scoring a double. If Liverpool continue to maintain this form, I tell you, it will be very difficult for Manchester City to catch up with them.
Talking about catch up is Chelsea. They went away at the weekend, of course, overpowered their neighbors, Leicester City, by 2-1, and a win-win for Chelsea.
Yeah, win-win for them. I think Enzo Maresca is trying to do something spectacular this season. You know, they have been winning games, and the big games as well, they have not also done pretty bad. You know, so nobody even gave them a chance to be competing for the title this season. But you look as though Enzo Maresca have actually been able to put certain structures in place and playing philosophy that enable the Chelsea team to gain positive results, especially for mid-table games.
What has happened to Amorim and Manchester United? They went to Ipswich Town and barely had a point from that fixture.
Disappointing start for Ruben Amorim, who was actually talking tough. Many dubbed him as you know, whether they call him the second special one, but then he came to the media and said no, that he is the smiling one. I don't know whether that result was smiling for him or not, but one thing is certain, it wasn't the kind of result that United fans actually expected from him, because the confidence was very high heading into that game because of the way he'd been talking very tough on the media and all of that. But disappointingly, they took the lead in the very early minutes of the game. Less than 7 minutes played. Rashford, who
pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.